conviction positions that are out there, and we want to identify at what price, when this thing's on sale, will we pull the trigger. Write it down so you don't forget it, you commit to it, and make sure that when something like that falls into your lap, you take advantage of it. I do agree this is going to be a buying opportunity.
What do you think, Rebecca?
Well, you can't ever, to Mark's point, you can't really know where the bottom's going to be. I still don't think we're there yet, so I think we're still a little bit on the overpriced side in general, and certainly I think there will be more consternation back and forth that will create more volatility, that will bring us down further. So I think there's buying opportunities now, but just understand that that might not be your lowest cost buying, Maria.
Well, look, President Trump said to expect disruption.
Exactly.
That's what we're seeing right now, real disruption in the markets, and I'm wondering if this producer price index takes on more importance because of the tariff conversation. Look, it's obviously early on, so we don't really know the full impact, but the input costs are what we're talking about, because if companies are spending more on the input commodities that they are needing to buy to produce the products, they will likely pass that on to consumers. That's when the inflation story becomes scary. Markets are improving right now. The number is about to hit on the producer price index for the month of February. And as you can see, the Dow Industrials so far are off of the worst levels of the morning as we await the producer price index. Let's get right to Cheryl. She's got the number. Cheryl.
This came in much lighter than expected. Inflation easing on the producer price level. Month over month, we came in flat. We were actually looking for a gain of 0.3%. We came in flat. Year over year, again, less than expected, 3.2%. The estimate was for 3.3% on that year-over-year headline PPI number. Core down 0.1%. We were looking for a gain of 0.3% month to month on the core level, and then 3.4%. That's lighter than expected. We were looking for 3.5% on the core level. And remember that the month prior, we had seen kind of some stickiness with inflation on the energy side of things, and I'm wondering if that's going to be a component of this one. Real quick, about 40% of the decline was final demand services. Margins for machinery, vehicle wholesaling, that actually fell 1.4%. Food and alcohol retail, autos, auto parts, footwear, all of those things actually as well. We're seeing those numbers kind of come down. Also inpatient care, a little bit of a jump there. But overall, Maria, again, we're seeing that wholesale inflation story come down.
Well, we'll see if this actually helps quiet markets down. You know, the business community wants clarity, and that's why I asked President Trump that, Mark, in terms of clarity on tariffs. Once we get through April 2nd, I think markets will at least know what's ahead.
Yeah, and look, I'm talking with my buddies who are YPO members, Young Presidents Organization. They are business owners. They're running very, very solid companies, 50 million, 100 million, 200 million a year in revenues. They're not publicly traded. They're privately held. They were super excited post-election back last November, December. Right. They came up with all these growth plans, all these initiatives that they want to implement. But right now, they're kind of in wait-and-see mode. They will still implement those projects, but it's going to be pushed out. So it's going to be kind of a timing event kind of thing. I mean, imagine you're producing a widget or something like that, and you're wondering, should I hike my prices 25%? I'm not sure. My competitors haven't done it yet. So you're playing, it's like a game of cat and mouse. And once there's clarity, whether there are 25% tariffs, 10% tariffs, or no tariffs, once there's clarity, business owners can move forward.
That's right. And that's when they know what to expect, they can adjust, and they will adjust. EJ, your reaction to the PPI, what is your takeaway?
Maria, came in a little bit cooler than the headlines. Again, as we were expecting, that's great news. Inflation seems to really be moving in the right direction. That's also true when we look at other data like the inflation expectations that just came out from the Cleveland Fed, really moving in the right direction, especially since February was a spike. That was, I think, the highest since July of 2007. As far as the whole tariff conversation goes, you're 100% right. Markets need clarity. Business hates uncertainty, right? And as soon as we're talking about reciprocal tariffs, that automatically creates a higher level of uncertainty, because now it's not just up to the president, it's up to another foreign leader. We have to respond to what those foreign leaders do, so we have to wait to see what those foreign leaders are going to do. One last point, though, is that so much of what we see within the PPI buy is not only the final demand, but also that intermediate demand. And that immediately makes me think of the huge volume of energy that we buy from Canada that we then sell back to Canada in the
There's
form
my
of
Bubba,
finished
huh?
products like gasoline. We buy oil from them, we refine it, we sell it back.
Yeah.
So an important component of that whole tariff conversation is the fact that if Canada really wants to get into a trade war, they're actually largely hurting their own consumers who are going to face double tariffs on products like gasoline.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there are areas of the market that will be impacted more than others with regard to tariffs. Pete Najarian, real quick, we've got to jump, but are there areas that you want to avoid as an investor because of these tariffs? Some people say the auto sector will get hit hard.
Yeah, I think that would definitely be one of them, Maria. I think the reality is this. Everybody said it already, but the idea that we have the uncertainty that we've got, that's a big factor. We have a president who's willing to negotiate, though, and I think that's a big factor as well. There's a lot of positives, I think, that can be taken away, but it's a matter of time, and it will take some time. And we know that there's been some pressure in some of the selling, but I'll tell you what, this volatility thing, I think, is something everybody, every morning, I think when you wake up, that should be the first thing you look at is, where is the volatility index? Because that will give you some of the indications going forward.
All right, we will leave it there. Thanks, everybody. Great conversation around the producer price index, which came in better than expected, cooler than expected, as you say. EJ Antoni, Pete Najarian, we'll see you soon. Mark and Rebecca, you're with us all morning long, and we appreciate it. Quick break, then we've got the editor-in-chief of the Wall Street Journal in-house. Emma Tucker is here next. Stay with us.
When you can't watch, listen. Get the latest news, business, and news headlines on SiriusXM. Anytime, anywhere. Fox News Audio on SiriusXM. America is listening.
Can a personal loan unlock your ambitions? Oh, yeah. Take a swing at your kitchen lemon. And that literally. SoFi Personal Loans. Low fixed rates. Borrow up to $100K. No fees required. Where are you headed?
Where am I headed? Am I just going to take what the market gives me? No, I can do some research.
You know, that's backed by JP Morgan's leading strategists, like us.
When you want to invest with more confidence, the answer is JP Morgan Wealth Management.
Millions of Americans are struggling to keep up with rising healthcare costs. The HOPE Act is a common-sense solution with broad, sweeping, bipartisan support. It's backed by trade groups representing thousands of America's leading employers, endorsed by bipartisan members of Congress, and over 70% of Americans support the HOPE Act. It's time for Congress to act and give over 100 million Americans hope. Learn more at hopeactnow.com. 7 million U.S. businesses rely on TikTok to compete.
Within a week of posting, I had over $25,000 in sales.
I don't have $1 million to put towards marketing or anything. TikTok was the way, and it saved my company.
We had a video do really good this week. Sales were up 29%.
About 80% of my business right now is from TikTok.
Small businesses thrive on TikTok.
TikTok brings in so much foot traffic.
I need TikTok to keep growing. We have so much more work to do.
I'm sorry, there was a long line at the Thai place.
Can you get the sauce I like?
Of course.
Look, a man.
I wish.
The future isn't scary. Not investing in it is. NASDAQ 100 Innovators, 1 ETF. Before investing, carefully read and consider fund investment objectives, risks, charges, expenses, and more. Prospectus at Invesco.com.
At Ameriprise Financial, we know our clients are so much more than clients. They're go-getters and game changers, legacy leavers and visionaries, healers and confidants. The goals that matter most to you matter most to us. Helping you achieve them is what we do best. With personal financial advice from an advisor you can trust and goal-based investing in solutions, it's no wonder we have a 4.9 out of 5 client satisfaction rating. Ameriprise Financial. Advice worth talking about.
Meet Avocado's best-selling green mattress. Made with certified organic cotton, wool, and latex, plus ergonomic coils to support your body's natural curves for cool and restorative sleep. Featuring a 1-year in-home sleep trial. Complete your bed with organic pillows and bedding. Shop today at avocadomattress.com, proud supporter of 1% for the planet.
Michael lost 20 pounds with LifeMD.
I've always wanted to lose weight, but I never figured out the right way to do it. I did a cleanse. And I said, I can't do this anymore. And I asked a couple buddies, I said, how do I lose this weight? And the guy goes, LifeMD. got on the computer immediately, and probably the easiest thing I've ever done. The medication comes in the mail, and it's very easy to use. I've been able to live my normal lifestyle, and I've lost 20 pounds already. I now come home, spend time with my kids, and I've never felt better. It changed my life.
Check your eligibility in minutes at GetLifeMD.com.
When I started Walton Goggins Goggle Glasses, I needed a website. And GoDaddy Hero uses AI to make a beautiful website so fast it'll blow my customers' noggins. While they're shopping for goggins for their noggins.
The public companies want to make sure that we have clarity. After April 2nd, when those reciprocal tariffs go in, is that it? Are you going to change anything after that? Will we have clarity?
We may go up with some tariffs. It depends. We may go up. I don't think we'll go down, but we may go up. They always say that. We want clarity. Look, our country's been ripped off for many decades. For many, many decades. And we're not going to be ripped off anymore.
There are rising worries about a slowdown. You've got the Atlanta Federal Reserve saying we're going to have a contraction in the first quarter. Are you expecting a recession this year?
I hate to predict things like that. There is a period of transition because what we're doing is very big. We're bringing wealth back to America. That's a big thing. And there are always periods of, it takes a little time. It takes a little time. But I think it should be great for us.
And that's President Trump in my interview, which sparked a global sell-off in stocks, setting the week off with real market volatility. Joining me now to talk about that and the other issues of the day is the editor-in-chief of the Wall Street Journal, Emma Tucker. Emma, it's great to have you.
Thanks very much for having me on.
Thank you so much for joining us. And of course, we are watching your work in the Wall Street Journal every day. Tariffs have become the dominant conversation. How do you see things?
Well, I have to say, you put the cat amongst the pigeons with that interview you did with Trump it was the weekend. Since then, we've been on an absolute roller coaster. And, I mean, broadly speaking, we saw each other at the World Economic Forum in January.
Yes, in Davos.
In Davos back then. And do you remember the mood then was so upbeat? And the American chief execs that were there were also excited. The talk was all of deregulation, growth, no tax rises, boom, boom, America. And Europe was absolutely stuck in the doldrums, very unhappy. But it's very interesting how that mood has shifted pretty much since all the tariffs started coming in. I think businesses realises now Trump is serious about this, but the problem they've got is that they're being imposed in a very haphazard way, and that's creating so much instability. Then along comes your interview, and Trump refuses to rule out a recession. He's talking in a kind of no pain, no gain kind of way. And I think, chief execs, businesses, they're slightly floundering because they don't know where to look now.
Yeah, and one of the main stories in the Journal today, CEO frustrations with Trump over trade mount in private. So the president has been speaking to lots of CEOs this week. He was at the Business Roundtable, and of course, lots of CEOs told me at the Business Council they're not sure where things are going. What do you think the conversation is in boardrooms today in terms of how these companies are going to adjust to this new policy of tariffs?
Well, I think one thing's very clear from our reporting is they're reluctant to say anything publicly. I think that story that was about this roundtable of business people. There was some sort of informal polls where the chief execs that were there said the stock market would have to drop by 20% for them to talk out. So I think they've accepted that the tariffs are here, and what they want to know now is which ones are staying, which ones are going to be dialed back, is there going to be further retaliation? And I mean, just before I came on, it was news that Trump is now talking about further retaliation against the EU. The EU retaliated yesterday against the aluminium and steel tariffs. Trump's now talking about putting 200% tariffs on champagne, alcohol, core European products.
So do you expect that those prices will go higher? I mean, when a company has to pay more for its input, will they typically pass it on to the consumer, do you think?
I think eventually they're going to have to.
Yeah.
They may not immediately. There may be some buffer there that they can absorb these prices, but over time, inevitably, I think we will see prices for certain goods go up.
Emma, you've been covering corporate America and economic business across the globe for a long time. It's my sense, and correct me if I'm wrong, I want to get your take on this. It's my sense that Donald Trump is looking through a lens of national security on everything. I mean, for President Trump, it's not just an economic issue, the tariffs and not being treated fairly, etc., but it's a national security issue. Do you believe that to be true? Because I think that when you think about the supply chains, being in China, being in Taiwan, 90% of the semiconductor, advanced semiconductor chips made in Taiwan, is that, do you believe, one of the issues that's sort of an overriding issue in President Trump's head, in addition to not being treated fairly?
I think it very much is, and I think it explains a lot of the moves that have happened. And I think it also explains this sense that he was trying to get over when he was in your interview, where he was sort of saying, look, we're going to have to take some pain here in order to get where we need to get to. And where he wants to get to, I think, is to have, exactly as you say, the supply chains brought back here so that America's not relying on other countries for the materials that are needed for these very important chips. And I think if you see it through that prism, then it all starts to make a bit more sense.
Right.
And the interesting thing, though, is that this approach towards American security is also making the rest of the world wake up. So the talk now in Europe has gone from being, we're stuck in the doldrums, everything's terrible. They're now talking about, okay, we need to step up, we need to think out, we need to conceive of a world in which we don't depend on America anymore. And that means we need to spend way more on defense. You've seen it already in Germany with Merz, the new incoming president, sort of talking about how Germany has to reshape its economy. So I think it's not just happening here because of the approach Trump is taking. The rest of the world is as well.
And another example I use with regard to this point is pharmaceuticals, right? The underlying components in our pharmaceuticals also made in China. And we had a fantastic interview with Bill Gates recently that I was really struck by. And another issue that we've been covering when we were in Davos together in January was Iran. What was your takeaway of that interview with Bill Gates?
My takeaway from that interview with Bill Gates was actually about him, because it was off the back of his book. He was talking about how his childhood, his upbringing, how having been fraudulently diagnosed as on the spectrum, about having that he got medicated. So he was really interested about all of that. But also, he was very, on the issue of Iran, he's very upbeat about it. I think he thinks lots of people can comment about using AI to really ask questions of data sets that he's building to me. And so I think, I mean, he was circumspect. He's not too positive about the prospects of another pandemic. I mean, he's a thoughtful guy, and he's very, very interesting. And he's so outside the other set of the tech guys, but as he said to me then, he's more of a tech nerd than we are.
That was a fascinating conversation. I'm so happy that you did that. Let's talk global affairs, because this is another issue that we're running deeper. A senior aide to Putin is rejecting this proposal for a ceasefire. Of course, the ceasefire agreed built by the Trump administration. But Russia is saying that it will only give Ukraine forces time to regroup, and it will not lead to a peaceful long-term resolution. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff in Moscow this morning expected to soon meet with Putin. Ukrainian President Zelensky revealed that the United States pushed to extend the ceasefire to land when Kyiv says it's already agreed to one by air and sea. The Wall Street editorial board reacting to the proposal, saying this: Ukraine bows to Trump's ceasefire. Your thoughts?
Well, I think the real question now is, will Trump start to lose patience with Russia? Because as we know, he's put a lot of pressure on Ukraine. They've now reached this agreement, the US and Ukraine, over this temporary ceasefire, the 30-day ceasefire. The ball has been in Russia's court, and now we've just heard what the response is, which is they're not interested. Now, I wonder whether Trump will start to lose patience with them, because what he wants is peace. And but the problem is, at the moment, there's nothing in it for Russia to agree to the ceasefire, because they're busy trying to retake territory that Ukraine took. And Putin was in Kursk yesterday claiming that they'd made gains. They want to take this territory, because if the territory stays in Ukraine's hands, that's a bargaining chip for them in any future ceasefire. So I think, I think how things unfold today is going to be really interesting.
It really is, and I thought it was such an innovative idea to tap into the rare earth minerals.
Yeah.
I don't know if that deal will materialize. We're watching that as well.
Yeah.
Emma, you are the first woman to be named as chief editor, the editor-in-chief of the Wall Street Journal. When you started the job, you said you wanted to grow and diversify the journal's subscriber base. Tell us about your business right now. The journal saw more than 4 million total subscriptions at the end of last year. That was higher by 7% compared to 2023. Congrats on there. Where does the growth come from at the journal?
The growth at the journal all comes from digital. There's absolutely, what we're doing, we're growing our digital subscribers. That's absolutely where the focus is. But having said that, we have a very loyal group of business, of print readers, and we are not about to abandon them. But my job is, they're wonderful, they're sticking with us, but if the journal is to have a future, and we really need the journal to have a future for the sake of journalism.
We sure do.
And so for that to happen, we need to bring in new audiences, people who care about business, finance, economics, good quality, good reporting, journalism you can trust. For that to happen, we have to attract a new audience. And that means we have to sort of look at slightly different subjects to bring in the women, younger readers, because that's the only way we'll ensure that we have a good future.
I have to say, I normally walk around, carrying the journal in my hand, but increasingly, I read it on my phone, Emma.
Good girl. That's where you should be.
I'm reading it on my phone. Are the advertising taking note of that? Are they wanting digital?
Yes, they are. They still love our print editions. There's no doubt about that. But they're also, keen to appear on our digital platforms as well.
Emma, thanks so much for talking about the news. Talking the news with me this morning. Great to see you.
Great to see you too.
Emma Tucker, Wall Street Journal. We'll be right back.
I tried a bunch of different probiotics before seed.
And they didn't help. It addressed my bloating and my irregularity. It's really helping my daily bowel movements and keeping me pretty regular. I started feeling better and less bloated, felt fatter, lighter. I just keep going back to seed because it actually works.
Now I walk around smiling every day because I don't get bloated anymore.
Nothing stands still. Not technology, not the market, and not Franklin Templeton. We've been a firm in motion for over 75 years. Always innovating. Today, we're a leader in public and private markets, digital assets, and custom tax management, empowering advisors with solutions to build the portfolios of the future today. Franklin Templeton, your trusted partner for what's ahead.
Liberty Mutual is all she talks about since we saved hundreds by bundling our home and auto insurance.
It's pronounced Liberty. Liberty. Nice try, kid. Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, liberty, liberty. Public.com is the one place where you can invest in almost everything. Stocks, options, bonds, crypto. You can even lock in a 6% or higher yield. All your investing in one place. Get up to $10,000 when you transfer an account to Public.com.
As a cardiologist, when I put my patients on a statin to reduce cholesterol, I also tell them it can deplete their CoQ10 levels. I recommend taking Qunol CoQ10. Qunol has 3 times better absorption than regular CoQ10. Qunol, the brand I trust.
Before the market forecast, get your weather forecast. Greta Merwin and Craig Herrera have live coverage every weekday morning at 5 with Fox Weather on Fox Business.
Pain hits fast, so get relief fast. Tylenol Rapid Release Gels.
Introducing Michelob Ultra Zero. Zero alcohol, ultra smooth taste. Just 29 calories. Stay in the game with Michelob Ultra Zero.
Where are you headed? Where am I headed? Am I just going to take what the market gives me? No, I can do some research.
That's backed by JP Morgan's leading strategists, like us.
When you want to invest with more confidence, the answer is JP Morgan Wealth Management.
SpaceX set to make another attempt at retrieving two NASA astronauts stranded in space after technical difficulties stopped yesterday's launch. Fox Business's Ashley Webster is live this morning in Titusville, Florida, with more. Ashley.
I tell you what, good morning, Maria. It's a frustrating business, isn't it, this space stuff? Yes, just 44 minutes before yesterday's scheduled launch, a problem with hydraulics at the launch pad was detected. NASA and SpaceX deciding safety first. We're going to abort that mission. We try again tomorrow at 7:03 p.m. Eastern. And, of course, all this means is that the stranded astronauts, Butch Wilmore and Sonny Williams, will just have to wait a few more days up there on the International Space Station before they can return to Earth. If all goes to plans and they launch tomorrow, they would begin their journey home sometime next week, probably beginning on Wednesday. So we watch and we wait. Maria, back to you.
All right, Ashley, we will be watching and waiting. Thank you, Ashley Webster. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
There are some things that work better together, like your workplace benefits and retirement savings. Voya provides tools that help you make the right investment and benefit choices so you can reach today's financial goals and look forward to a more confident future.
Voya, well planned, well invested, well protected.
After last month's massive solar flare added a 25th hour to the day, businesses are wondering what should we do?
I'm thinking a few white power now.
Anything can change the world of work. From HR to payroll, ADP designs for the next anything.
Listen to the Fox Business Rundown podcast every Monday and Friday.
The world of business moves fast. Whether you're on Main Street or Wall Street, Fox Business is invested in you.
Go to foxbusinesspodcast.com or wherever you download your favorite podcast. America is listening.
What do a neurosurgeon, a country artist, and a television and radio host have in common? They all saw the writing on the wall. Big banks sharing their financial information with big government. Join them as owners of Noble Worry Bank, the pro-America online bank that protects your privacy, security, and liberty. Invest today at own.oldglorybank.com.
At Baird, we have a different slant on global financial advice. That global capabilities mean nothing without personal attention. We have investor relationships in 35 countries and market expertise in over 40 industry verticals, all to help make the most important investment connections of all, yours. Global financial advice with a client-first approach. It's the shape of things to come. Discover the Baird difference at BairdDifference.com.
Only ServiceNow connects every corner of your business, putting AI to work for people.
Every corner?
Every corner, Nick. So, Kate in HR.
Hey, Kate.
The focus on people, not process. Patty in IT is using AI agents to do all the small stuff so she can work on the big stuff. AI helps Jim solve customer problems before they're problems.
Oh, so we all work better together.
My work here is done.
Excuse me, which way back?
When I started Walton Goggins goggle glasses, I didn't know how to turn all this fancy prettiness into a classy looking logo. But GoDaddy Aero does, with its magical AI powers. It not only creates it, it slaps that sweet thing everywhere.
I take you, body, in sickness and in health, for as long as we shall live.
Should GLP-1 weight loss medication cost hundreds of dollars? We don't think so. Check your eligibility for GLP-1 medications in minutes. Get started today at lifemd.com/TV.
I love Rise Mushroom Coffee, and not just because I look good drinking it.
Hello there.
The all-day energy I get is good too, and it's easy on the stomach. But mostly, it's because I look good drinking it.
Number one Fox Business. I have enormous faith in America. This country holds the best path to prosperity. And free market capitalism is worth fighting for.
Larry's keeping an eye on Washington. Number one Fox Business. Invested in you.
Welcome back. 30 minutes before the opening bell sounds on Wall Street. Let's check markets. Off of the lows of the morning, down 66 on the Dow right now. Mark Tepper, final thoughts.
As I mentioned earlier, worst case scenario for tariffs is a 3% tax for taxpayers. Right now, a family making $150 grand a year pays an effective tax rate of 15%. Donald Trump wants to get rid of taxes on those people, so you go from 15% to 3% tax. I'll take tariffs all day, any day, if that's the end game.
And I just spoke to the issue of national security with Emma Tucker. I think this is a really important point to make. Your thoughts, Matt?
Look, I want to go back to what Biden's been doing. It's cooking the books on immigration. We're going to see more self-dealings. Don't forget that Joe Biden gave his friend Stacey Abrams $2 million. There's going to be more of that. Billion. Thank you.
Rebecca Lawson.
The economic case for tariffs is not to know that it's inflationary. It can be de-inflationary because it raises prices and it takes buyers out of the marketplace.
Join us tomorrow. I've got a big interview coming up. The Energy Secretary, Chris Wright, is here, along with the U.S. Attorney General, Pam Bondi, in the 8 a.m. hour. Join us. Right to Stu we go, and Bonnie and Company. Stu, take it away.
Good morning, Maria, and keep those interviews coming. They're real cool. Good morning, everyone. Before we get to the latest inflation report, it is worth pointing out that in the first months of the Trump presidency, some products have actually come down in price. Oil, gas, and yes, eggs. They now cost less. Overall, prices are rising, but the pace of inflation is clearly slowing. Look at this. Last month, the Producer Price Index, which measures costs paid by businesses, did not go up at all, unchanged. Over the past year, producer prices are up 3.2%, which is the smallest gain since last November. Tariffs are not a factor in this report. Wednesday, we saw consumer prices go up 2.8% in the last year. Inflation is moderating slowly. Here's the market reaction. Not much. Dow Industrials down maybe 30, Nasdaq down maybe 45 points. Red on the left-hand side of the screen, despite no increase in the producer price index. As for Bitcoin, we're looking this morning at around $80,000, while we're now at 82,600. Interest rates, we have the 10-year Treasury yielding above 4.3%, and the 2-year right now pretty close to 4% even. That's where it is at this moment, 4%. Oil, well below $70 a barrel, 67 to be precise. Gas keeps on coming down. You're looking at $3.07 a gallon for regular. Diesel down to $3.61. Politics. Look at this from President Trump, writing on Truth Social earlier today after the EU put a huge tariff on our whiskey. Quote, if this tariff is not removed immediately, the U.S. will shortly place a 200% tariff on all wines, champagnes, and alcoholic products coming out of France and other EU-represented countries, end quote. Later today, the President meets trade representatives from Canada at the White House. Doug Ford, Ontario's Premier, he'll be there. He briefly threatened to cut electricity supplies to America. He backed off quickly. He's in the meeting today. Dramatic change at the Environmental Protection Agency. This is a complete about-face. The agency is being repurposed away from fighting climate change and air pollution and water pollution, going towards promoting prosperity. Administrator Lee Zeldin calls it the largest deregulation announcement in U.S. history. On the show today, another move to the center from presidential wannabe Gavin Newsom. On his podcast, he says he supports keeping Trump's tax cuts, except for the very rich. Earlier, he said biological men and in girl sports, that is unfair. He sees the writing on the Democrats' wall. The left cannot win elections, so Newsom moves to the middle. Thursday, March 13th, 2025. Barney and Company is about to begin. Shout.
What is this? Shout? Every wedding you've ever been to.
Shout.
Every wedding that you're going to want to go to. They play shout.
That's you're backing me into some kind of corner here, Tom.
What
you like to say?
Hey, Trump.
Yeah.
If they're after 5 p.m. at night.
Sure.
Can we get on with this? President Trump defending his approach to tariffs. He says all he's doing is just staying flexible.
It's called flexibility. It's not called inconsistency. It's called flexibility. I'll always have flexibility, but there will be very little flexibility once we start. April 2nd is going to be a very big day for the United States of America. The United States of America is going to take back a lot of what was stolen from it by other countries and by, frankly, incompetent U.S. leadership. Grossly incompetent.
Here's the tariff move news of the morning. Trump just took to Truth Social saying if the European Union doesn't lift its tariffs on U.S. products, specifically whiskey, He'll put a 200% tariff on wines, champagnes, and other alcoholic products coming from the EU. Meanwhile, Goldman Sachs chief David Solomon, he's coming to Trump's defense on the tariff issue.
I think the business community understands what the president is trying to do with tariffs. Now, the business community is always going to want lower tariffs everywhere in the world. At the moment, there's some uncertainty. The market's digesting that, but we're going to have to watch and see how this all plays out.
You know, all of this, it's not new for Trump. Listen to what he had to say about the U.S. being treated unfairly all the way back in 1987. Watch this.
It's very important that you have free trade. But we don't have free trade right now, because if you want to go to Japan or if you want to go to Saudi Arabia or various other countries, it's virtually impossible for an American to do business in those countries. I think a lot of people are tired of watching other countries ripping off the United States. This is a great country. They laugh at us. Behind our backs, they laugh at us because of their own stupidity.
He hasn't changed in, what, 35 years? No. Tom Parker was speaking of this morning. If this tariff thing drags on, can he maintain political support?
Provided he approaches this from a wartime setting approach. And by that I mean, look at during World War II. There were two fronts. There was the front, obviously, the three fronts. There was the fighting front, where so many of our grandparents sacrificed so much, including, in some instances, their lives. Then on the home front during the wars, people only bought American, and they really made sacrifices to further their country. If we view this as a wartime setting, yes, people are going to have to make sacrifices in terms of what they buy, in terms of what they can afford. We're not asking anybody to fight and die. This is a sacrifice that will be better for your kids and grandkids in the long run. And I know what you're going to say, but look at the stock market, Stu. Well, here's my response to that. Yes, these numbers are not good if you're CEOs and people like that. But if you're a regular common person and you are somebody who needs this money, that means you're older. You shouldn't be in stocks to begin with. And if you're somebody like us who has a 30 to 40 year time horizon, yeah, we can withstand